Welcome to this episode of Bold Strong. I'm Craig Nadeau. Today I have a special guest, someone I've known for most of his life. His name is Pierce Nadeau. Pierce is still a teenager. He's spent most of his life playing basketball, and he's been in sports for as long as I can remember. Pierce has a good head on his shoulders, and he's fun to talk to. Pierce had a recent opportunity to try out a product called EM Sculpting, and he got to try that on his abs and see if that made any difference in his life. Pierce is going to share with us a little bit about his workouts, a little bit about where he sees himself heading in the next while. In any case, enjoy this conversation. Have a great day. All right, and welcome to the Bold Strong podcast. Today we have a special guest. We have Pierce Nadeau with us. I'm very excited to have Pierce with us. Pierce has been at home now for quite a long time, getting to experience the home life of working out and going to school and going to university while at home. And we thought today we'd have a quick conversation with Pierce, a little bit about what that's been like and certainly what fitness has been like. Now, Pierce, you've used to be more or less a full-time athlete while you were at school and at high school, and that all changed come March of, so long ago it's hard to remember, March of 2020, everything shut down.
Yeah.
And you got to stay home. So what's it been like being at home?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me say thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. And right off the bat, it sucked. It sucked real bad. I think I was in high school when everything got shut down right off the bat. Mm-hmm. And so I had to finish all my courses at home, and that meant I didn't have to take diplomas. I didn't have to do lots of stuff. My classes were all through Google Meet. I had, my homework was all digital learning stuff, and, obviously I didn't like it because at first it was great, I went home. Fortnite was huge. I was playing Fortnite all the time with the boys. But then I think it gets tiring after a while. It's so frustrating.
Yeah. And up to that point, as I recall, it was basically basketball every day of the week pretty much. And then physical activity just gets rug out pulled.
Yeah. So I actually got Athlete of the Year for my senior year of high school.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I played volleyball in the fall. Mm-hmm. And then I played basketball starting in November, and it continued until January, February kind of time. And that was right when we had just finished Division II finals. My team had made it to Division II finals. And there's a funny story. We beat our team's coach, his old team. We beat him in the finals.
Excellent.
And then so provincials was just about to start. And then that's when everything got shut down. So there's lots of teams that were gonna go to provincials and didn't get to go. And that was just about to when my track and field season was about to start. And that got completely erased for me, which was a little disappointing. But of the seasons, volleyball, basketball, or track that I'll have to give up, I would give that up first.
Right. Yeah. So obviously you were able to get through the school part, but then we get into the fitness part, and that's hard. So now, what's it looked like now? You haven't been able to play basketball and do the stuff you were doing before. What's the physical training component looked like over the last year?
Well, first of all, I broke my foot, which really put a damper on things, I think. Mm-hmm. I think when I first was at home, I was putting on lots of weight, but I was still working out, keeping in shape and doing all this stuff. I was just eating more and moving less.
Right.
And I think that's easy for you to put on weight like that, right?
Right.
But then I broke my foot, and all of a sudden it was that times 100, because not only I can't walk around, I can't do so much other stuff. I can't even stand up to do anything, right? So then obviously my workout routine changes so much from when I'm at home. I can do whatever I want. I can run on the treadmill, and I'm sitting at home doing next to nothing.
Right.
And that was probably the worst part for me, is that not only am I sitting at home, I can't go see my friends. I can't go out and do this. I can't play basketball outside in the courts, which I was doing up until this point.
Right.
Now I can't even work out to an extent, right?
But then you modified.
Yeah.
And you were able to modify. So
improvise, adapt, overcome, you know?
And what did you do? What's the workouts look like now?
You know, when I was first starting to work out in high school, I did so much legs. You know, I was doing legs like 3 times a week. Because I was playing basketball, I was playing volleyball, and I was doing track. So those were that was super important for me to do legs. Now I'm at home, I was doing arms or chest or back or shoulders all the time. I never did legs. So my upper body started getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And just because I couldn't do legs. So I would do, like, bench press was huge for me because it was like, it was easy. Like, it was just something I just bench, right?
Yep.
And then shoulders and back and everything. I started to appreciate my upper body more than I had previously.
Excellent. And so, you know, I vaguely remember being your age, and I remember it was such a big deal. I had a few cultural icons like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, and, you know, we'd watch the movies and then we'd do push-ups and bicep curls for an hour, and that was kind of all we knew. But things have changed. You have a lot more information. I know a lot of you know, high school students and early university students, they're trying hard they're getting big, they're wanting to work out more. You have access to some supplements. You're obviously a natural athlete, but what supplementation have you used to help with your progress, I guess?
Well, I've always been using protein for quite a while. I've taken lots of protein, kind of varying what I take depending on, you know, if I'm playing basketball or doing whatever, or when I work out. But that's always been a big thing for me. And I think that's probably kind of the first step for everybody. Like, if you're looking at supplementation, especially in high school, you look at what are people going to take first? Probably protein, right?
Yeah. And, you know, just a side point on that, I was doing some coaching with the basketball team that you were on, and I was the nutrition and training coach. And we did a survey of all the athletes that were on the team. It was every athlete on the team was barely getting enough. They were not getting enough protein, you know, and it came into probably somewhere into less than 0.5 gram of protein per pound. And we know that mostly you need upwards or close to 1 gram per pound.
Yeah.
So is that about what you're trying to hit? And is that why you're supplementing with the protein?
I would say so. I think, I mean, like, if you look at those athletes that I was playing with, and especially like others, and people who aren't athletes even too, of the things that they need in their diet that is lacking, protein's probably high on the list, right? Like, other supplementation, it's like, okay, like, it's not as necessary because people are missing a lot of protein in their diets just off the bat. Yeah. So I think that's really important. And that's kind of where I needed it as well. Right. And then because I was an athlete and because I was working out and doing all this stuff, it just was that much, like, made that much more sense, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it's easy for young athletes to eat a ton of carbohydrates because you're running, you're exercising, and you're burning off the carbs. But then you're just not building with the protein. And so the protein's been good. And so you're using a whey isolate, is that?
Yeah, I'm using whey isolate, and I was using, what's the one? I think it was an isolate too. It was like no carbohydrates.
Oh, that was the diesel. It was an isolate with no carbohydrates and no fat in it. So.
And that one was really good. I'm all about, like, if it mixes easily and goes down smooth. Yeah, that's what I'm all about.
Yeah. So protein, super important. And, you know, and I guess we've heard a few, you know, scientists or sports nutritionists say, listen, if you're eating right, you don't even need to supplement. But the reality is, I've tried it. I think we've all tried it. It's like, how the heck do you get 200 grams of protein in?
Oh, yeah.
And that's so much meat. It's so much meat. So I don't know how you do it as a vegetarian.
Yeah, I think
that's really difficult.
And what's very interesting is, I've seen this over the media a bit, is you look at, like, the food pyramid that you were taught in school, right? Yeah. And you look at, like, what they taught was most important, and it was like, right off the bat, they're like, grains are super important. Like, you just need to eat so many grains, pasta, bread, all this stuff. And it's like, you need to have, like, of your plate size, it's half of it at least is grains. Yeah. Which is interesting because now you look at kind of the people my age, and when I was growing up in high school, all I ate was grains. Yeah. I didn't have as much meat or all this stuff that actually would have made my diet kind of more well-rounded. Sure. And that's, like, proteins obviously just supplements that so nicely. Yeah, absolutely. And vegetables. Like, you never want to of course, ignore the fact that you just eat. And, you know, it's funny in my diet and my eating,
Vegetables, I don't even record them. Like I just eat them. And I don't worry about if they have any calories. I just eat them all the time. It doesn't matter. So
Well, I think vegetables it's not about the calories, right? It's about are you getting like
the fiber and nutrients,
the vitamin D, all the vitamin C, all that kind of stuff. That's what vegetables are important for.
Absolutely. Other supplements you take? What else are you taking right now?
So right now I'm on creatine. Okay. I'm just on the maintenance phase. So that means I'm just taking 5 grams a day, which is, I've liked creatine. It's not something that I've, noticed as much, but I mean, why not, right?
Yeah.
Like there's been some people that I've heard who don't like creatine, and there's been people who don't like it and people who do like it a lot, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of of the mind that I want to know about something before I try it, before I kind of go about it. So I did a little research, and it seemed to work. People who took creatine versus people who took a placebo, the creatine worked.
Yeah.
The people who took the placebo got bigger, but the people who took creatine got way bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So obviously creatine does work.
Right.
And its side effects are minimal. I haven't noticed very much like anything at all, really, except for like increase in size. Like, and for me who's trying to gain weight, an increase in weight is like good. I'm not complaining about that.
Yeah. Creatine is so well studied. It's, at this point, it would be pretty hard to say that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like I can't really, if someone argues with me about creatine, I just have to walk away at
and
this
here's
point.
the thing, is that when you talk about, it's a supplement, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not like you can get creatine from other places in a diet, like
meat.
Fish,
yeah,
stuff
meat
like
and
that.
Fish all have creatine. Yeah.
It has creatine. It's not something that you wouldn't consume otherwise.
Right.
You do.
Yeah.
But you just don't notice it.
Yeah. It's a valuable one. Is there anything else you're taking? Like a lot of guys take pre-workout, and a lot of guys spend a lot of money on pre-workouts.
Here's my thoughts on pre-workouts. I don't feel like I need pre-workout. I'm going to be real. That's just what it is. I think when I go to work out, it's not about, how my body's feeling, because it's more about like my headspace and like if I'm in the right mind state, like when I'm going to work out. I think that I don't like need to be amped up, because I can get myself amped up if I want to. Yeah. It's not something, I don't feel like I need to use something to make myself amped up if I can do it myself, Right.
Crank the music.
Yeah. And as long as I'm in the right headspace, like music does it for me. Like I can kind of put myself in that position and feel like I can get as good, if not maybe even a better workout than someone who kind of relies on pre-workout to have a good workout.
Right. You probably would agree with this. A lot of guys say that pre-workout and a lot of the supplements that get used are essentially really expensive pee. That's what it turns into.
Yeah.
You just pee it out. So, and it is unbelievably expensive. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And is it worth it? For some people it probably is, right?
Yeah.
Like definitely, like some people feel like they really need to get some pre-workout to make them feel amped up because they wouldn't be able to in certain scenarios. And for them, it's perfect, right?
Yeah.
Like why wouldn't they take it?
There is some science around it, and I guess it's and a lot of people take pre-workouts because they're trying to feel a big pump. And pre-workouts certainly can do that. And there is some evidence showing that when you get a big pump, you also build muscle because you have a big pump. But you can also get a big pump by not taking pre-workouts.
Yeah, you don't need to.
So
it's not necessary.
So it's a supplement. It's
Yeah, I think like
it's a tough one
for people who take it. Like I'm not against that. Like definitely, like people should take it. But if I'm gonna have a bad workout, whether I take pre-workout or not, I'm not gonna take pre-workout because
I agree. I've had tons of horrible workouts and I've taken lots of pre-workout.
Yeah. So if you're going to have a bad workout, you're going to have a bad workout.
Yeah.
No matter the amount of supplements isn't going to change how good or bad your workout is.
Absolutely. Your workouts, just as not to give us your whole routine, but generally, like, what does a week look like workout wise?
So I always do chest on Monday.
International.
Yeah.
Chest day.
That's kind of a classic. Now, my foot is broken right now. If I was doing legs, I would probably do a legs on Tuesday and Thursday or Friday, just because I always want to get 2 legs in, just because I feel like it's important. Or like a cardio. and like had a big running / plyometrics day or something. And then, but since I'm not doing that right now, it's usually shoulders, and then shoulders Tuesday, arms, like bicep, tricep, then like a back or abs, and then whatever's left. I do it again. Like if I do like at arms or shoulders on Tuesday, I might do it again later in the week.
So a couple times each muscle per week is normal.
And kind of just like whatever I'm feeling.
And then sets, reps, like if you do chest, you would do you'd do bench, you'd do incline, you'd do something else. Are you doing, how many total sets for chest are you doing in a workout?
I would say I probably do, how many exercises? I probably do 5.
5 exercises, and then 3 sets
4
each?
sets.
4 sets. Okay. Yeah. So like up to 20. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. That includes warm-ups probably as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then sometimes I would superset, but it kind of depends. You know what? Talking about supersetting, there's a bit of a tangent, but I have been hating supersetting recently. Like, I just feel like I just get so tired.
Yeah.
Like, especially with flies, because I really notice this when I do bench press, like, or my chest day on Mondays. I'll bench, I'll do incline, or like some other kind of variation of bench.
Right.
And then I'll do a fly, and when I work with Carson, he always wants to superset the exercise after bench. So he'll do bench and then incline and then want to superset right after. So we would do like flies and then like some kind of cable thing, right?
Right.
But then when I did work out with him and I did flies by myself and just isolated it, I felt like I wasn't as tired, so I could really get a better concentration, right?
Right.
But
yeah, supersets is a tool in the toolbox. So you use it where you need it, I guess. And
true.
If you're getting what you need, then you get what you need. So I use it sometimes. I'm not a super huge fan of it, but if I'm wide awake and I have the equipment around,
I think
throw it in at the end.
I think if you got the energy to do it, it might be good. Gets your heart rate up, I feel like.
Yeah.
I like it, but
yeah, I like doing it at the end. That's kind of a good thing for me.
Yeah, true.
Now, you told me that off air that you had tried something new. You had tried EM Sculpt. I have a few doctor friends that have EM Sculpt at their dermatology clinics. So, but I've never seen it. I've never experienced it. Fill us in. Like, give us the
okay, yeah.
911.
So for all the viewers or listeners who's never heard of this EM Sculpt thing, it's a way to tone your body without working out. It kind of seems like a magic button kind of thing, or like a pill that you just take, and kind of like a scam on the internet. But what they do is they get this big paddle. There's 2 of them, so you can do it on like your butt or your legs. I'm not exactly sure all the places you can do it, but I know people do it on their neck, I think, and like under their arms. And I've been doing it mostly on my abs, just because it's like difficult for us to lose fat in that area. So might as well try it. So it's this big paddle, and they put it onto your belly, and they wrap it around with some Velcro, and then they flip it on, and then it's kind of like some sort of like scientist who's just like power up the machine, and then they power it up to 100 or slowly because it hurts, and it just puts electromagnetic radiation through your body, and just pulses and just forces your abs to just contract just super hard. And yeah, it contracts like crazy.
How long does a session last?
So a session lasts 30 minutes.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if that's the max time. I heard somewhere else that it can be shorter and more intense, but 30 minutes seems to be the regular. And there's different pulses that the machine gives you. So and there's different protocols too. There's a setting for men, there's a setting for women, there's a setting for like where you're doing it on your body. So there's different pulses for different things. So from my experience in the abs, I've done protocol 1 and protocol 2. Protocol 1 is like, it gives a really strong pulse, and then at least off for a couple seconds, and then a really strong pulse, and then off for a couple seconds, and then a really, really long pulse, and then off for a couple seconds. And then it goes pulse, 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 pulse. Just weak, kind of short ones. Just, I don't get the blood flowing or something.
I read something just very briefly and just looking into it, and it said something like a session is similar to doing, I don't know, I don't remember the exact number, so I'm probably going to blow it, but 60,000 sit-ups or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a big number.
I think the number is 20,000, if I remember
60
correctly.
sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty close. And here's the thing, like, if you're getting that kind of concentration on a sit-up, holy cow.
Right.
Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think it's different. It's almost not even comparable to doing a sit-up, because when you do a sit-up, you're kind of getting the max concentration that your body is able to do.
Right.
But with the machine, it contracts it even further. And if you count every single time it pulses as a contraction, then yeah, I mean that would be reasonable, I guess. But it's different because the concentration is not the same.
Right. It would be interesting to see, and I'm sure there's a study out there somewhere just saying how it would compare to doing a regular ab workout. And you used to do those all the time, and you probably still do.
Yeah.
So what is, like, how would you compare and contrast the two now, having done both?
So this is really interesting because the last session I did of this EM Sculpt, or so the first 2 sessions I did, I was like, it hurts when I do it. Like, it's hard. It's like, it's difficult for my abs to do this, right? But then the next day, I'm fine. Like, it doesn't even bother me at all. My abs aren't sore in the slight. Like,
so fast recovery.
Yeah, super fast. And like, I would notice like maybe like one tiny spot where it was like if I pushed on it really hard, it would get a little sore. But anyways, this most recent one went protocol 2. It had like a slightly different pulsing pattern. The next day I was super sore.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow. That's weird.
Like, I was just like it was like I did a massive sit-up workout.
Wow.
And it was really confusing because the first protocols in the first 2 sessions hadn't done that at all. But all of a sudden, the second protocol, which I felt like was easier, by the way, made me so much more sore the next day.
Wow, that's strange.
So it's weird because when I thought about it the first 2 sessions, I'm thinking, okay, no way is this comparable to an ab workout, right?
Right.
But then the last session I do, I'm like, all of a sudden, whoa, like
Way
maybe
better.
it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow. That's amazing. It's it'll be interesting to see how it ultimately plays out. And I don't, I guess it's unlikely that someone's going to say, look, you should just stop doing ab workouts altogether and only do this.
Yeah.
But
and from what I've read, it seems like the people who have talked about EM Sculpt and kind of have been in that community and done that work, they say it doesn't replace doing an ab workout, right? It's irreplaceable. And the way that the guy kind of explained it when I was reading it, he said, I think this was from like a Women's Health magazine or something. He was saying that when you do squats, right, you're not just squatting with like your glutes, right?
Yeah.
You're squatting with your hamstrings, your quads, your calves, all that
total
stuff.
posture, your chain, and
even with
everything.
Even if you're just doing like calf raises, you're getting all those muscles in your calves and like in your feet and in even like a little bit into your hamstring even.
Right.
So, and when you're doing the EM Sculpt, it's like 6 muscles. It's just that.
Right.
So you can't replace working out your abs with this because it won't work out everything and it won't have the full kind of full meal deal if I could say that.
So very isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's I did it on my butt as well, actually.
Yeah.
And it was pretty strange. And it did feel like that, like completely isolated. Like, it didn't even feel like it was getting all the muscles in my butt.
Right.
Like, I felt like it was getting like a couple and flexing it really hard, but not everything. And definitely from that perspective, I'm saying you can't just do that, obviously.
Right.
You have to work out as well.
Huh. That's interesting. Wow. There's a bit of a joke, and you go to the gym and someone will say, "What are you working on today?" And you say, "Hey, I'm working on my outer bicep today," or I'm working on just my upper ab on the left side only today. That's a very specific workout. So.
And I think for some people, like, you kind of need to do that. Like, especially for someone like you who's a bodybuilder, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you think, okay,
that's
like,
off.
That's off. Or I need to have like slightly bigger traps, or like I need like my obliques, like right in this one spot needs to be a little bit bigger. And I think like for people who are in that situation, or for people who only want abs, right? They don't care about anything else. Why not, right? Like, I think I was talking to my girlfriend and she said that like Kylie Jenner did it. And right, for someone like her, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Why would she need to be, like, do an ab workout if she could just do that and pay however much it costs to do it, right?
So you recommend? Like, it's
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's it's pretty fun, actually. Like, it's not an experience you would experience any other way.
Right.
And I would definitely, like, I enjoy it. But I mean, if you're paying for it, maybe not. It's tough.
It's going to be expensive.
Yeah, so. It definitely is going to be expensive.
It's not going to replace the gym.
Not at all.
So speaking about gyms, you've been away from the gym for a long time. COVID's locked the gym down, at a high level, made it really hard to work out even when they are open, because you have to have trainers with you, and then you have to be, they keep you away from everyone. Even, outdoor basketball's been limited. You just can't go and play pickup on a metal hoop somewhere. So what's it been like for you during COVID for playing basketball and getting into the gym?
I mean, like, it's not as bad as people think. Like hoops are mostly still open. There was a point where they kind of closed things down, but they generally open things up pretty good. And
so long as you're kind of following the numbers of people type rule.
As long as you're not being crazy and it's not like an absurd amount of people. Here's something interesting though. So when I broke my foot the second time the year, I was at this practice at a football field for this football tournament that was coming up. And it was like, I was thinking, I'm like, how is this working? Right? Like, we're in the middle of COVID. Like, how are they going to get people social distance? Not going to say any names, but it was hosted by a couple of guys from this one university. And you could just, like, kind of make a team, sign up, bring your players. It was like something like 15 players a team, maybe even more, but only like 8 people on a field at a time, right?
Just to be within the rule type.
Yeah. But we get there, and like the parking lot's full. People are parking on the grass, like to have somewhere to park, and the field's like packed with people. Like all the teams are sitting on the sidelines. There's only like 2 fields going at a time, and there's like everybody sitting there. And on the rules, it's like, make sure you bring a mask. So if the cops come, you put on your mask, and you're social distancing, right? Yeah. The cops come, right? So my broken foot, I'm sitting there. I got my mask. I put it on. They come and talk to whoever, and they're like, yeah, glad to see you young people playing sports again.
Like, either they didn't know the rules or you didn't know the rules. Someone didn't know the rules, or
and
didn't
either
care.
Way, nobody cared.
Nobody cared.
Like, even, like, it's not like anybody was like hugging or like doing all this stuff, right? Like, we were pretty socially distant on the sidelines, at least, and they didn't care, right?
Yeah. I guess it's been a tough, certainly a tough road for a lot of the contact sports. Like, football's a contact sport, and
we were playing flag, to be fair.
Yeah, and I guess at some levels, I really appreciate that, coaches and or parents, like, at least make an effort to, get the kids out there to do something, even if it's just, hey, practice catching the ball, or practice running, or practice doing something. And as long as they can, at least do their best to be within the rules, then, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I have noticed, and this has come up before in the conversations as well, is when you think about what's happened, and if you look at, Calgary, for instance, and we shut down on the 14th of March, over a year ago now, and basically skills development for people your age more or less came to a dead stop, right? So there's people that haven't shot a basketball for like 17, 18 months. And that has a massive impact on your skills and your ability to play.
Well, I think it's like, for someone like me who has a gym in my house and my girlfriend has a basketball court in her backyard, it doesn't affect as much.
Right.
But for someone who doesn't have that, doesn't have a gym, doesn't have a basketball court they can go to, even like a public one, they're so much worse for it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they have to pay to get trainers so they can go and train. Yeah. Or if you can't even afford trainers, then what do you do? You're screwed. Yeah. And then that's where I really feel bad for some of the high school athletes right now who didn't play their grade 11 season or grade 10 season. Yeah. And all of a sudden they have to hop into like school sports and maybe have not touched a basketball or haven't done something for a year or maybe even more.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. And, and I guess the good news is, like for myself, I've done, for a long time I was in track and field, as you know, and then, got really competitive there, and then kind of dropped that and stayed in bodybuilding for a while, and then transitioned out of bodybuilding into cycling.
Yeah.
And then out of cycling into, I think I went back to bodybuilding, but somewhere in
All
there
over the place,
I had a period of just getting fat. And then, but like, I think what I learned was that, a year of suboptimal performance doesn't mean you're done.
Oh yeah.
It just means, you're going to pick up, you're not going to pick up where you left off, but you'll get back. And it's not the end for a lot of these people.
And I think it's going to make people appreciate so much more being able to do the things that they weren't able to do before, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, I look at a lot of people and, we got the number of gyms, and you're too young to actually appreciate how many gyms there are now versus how many there were back like 30 years ago. Like 30 years ago, you'd go to a city and there'd be one gym that was public, or like that, was a retail kind of gym. And then there'd be the YMCA. And that's it. Yeah. Like, it's crazy. And then, like I remember I came to Calgary in the mid 90s, and, I probably drove like half an hour to go to the gym because that was the closest, best gym. But now it's like, I don't know. It's just like they only have to travel 4 minutes, to get to the closest gym. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like, what do you think? Do you think that in the recent, however many years since that time, do you think there's been an increase in people wanting to be fit?
Yeah, well, certainly. I think it comes hand in hand a bit with the kind of the Instagram culture, and everyone's living, the best life ever, and and maybe we're just don't have something else to do. Like, so I think we probably, here's another interesting point. I think we have a greater mobility of our, and it's our ability to be able to watch TV while we're not sitting in front of a TV. So when I grew up, if you wanted to watch TV, you had to literally sit on the couch
and watch TV.
And that was it, right? But now, like, I barely can think of times when I've sat down for a couple hours to just watch a TV show, because now everything's short sound bites. You can do it on the treadmill, you can do it with friends, or so it's a different environment now. So I think people are just more physically active in general, I guess. So.
And I think watching TV, as it were, isn't watching TV,
Yeah.
Like, people who are watching TV might be watching YouTube or watching Twitch or watching, Netflix or something. And that is something that you can do while you're running or listening to a podcast.
Right.
And that's something you can do while you're running or working out or doing anything.
We used to have podcasts on cassette.
Yeah.
You'd play your Walkman while you ran. So
yeah,
it's a different world. So, but it's good that you've been able to get some physical fitness in. It's nice to have a gym. It's nice you've been able to play some ball and get out there a bit. And so hopefully it tides you well. So what's the future for you? What's going to come up in the next few months? You have schools out.
Well, hopefully my foot is going to recover nicely. That's the goal, number one priority right now.
Right.
Hopefully my physiotherapist starts returning my calls. That would be great.
Perfect.
No, but from a physical standpoint, I mean, we're heading into summertime. I'm looking to maybe thin out a bit. I've been sitting on my butt doing a lot of stuff just because my foot's broken.
Right.
So I'm looking maybe cut. I'm definitely going to start running more. Yeah. Right.
Maybe there's a vacation coming up in a few months. Possible.
A vacation that I need
you want to look pretty for.
Yeah, keep an eye out for.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it, just trying to be my best self.
Good. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show today. Hopefully we can have you in again. I'd love to hear how the progress works as we get out of COVID.
For sure.
Appreciate your insights on all of this. It's been really great. So hopefully we can have you in again.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Pierce.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a great time.
Okay. Thanks very much. Hey, this is Craig. Thanks for watching this episode. I have a number of really interesting people that I'm going to be speaking with over the next while. Don't miss an episode. They're going to be great. If you have a chance, jump over to the partnerstaffing.com website. All the links to the videos that we're doing that are employment related will be there. Anyways, hit subscribe. Special thanks to our editor, Chris Velosevich. Look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Craig out.